When we fall more and more in love with Jesus, it causes us to fall more and more in love with the things that he loves. And we see that in everyday life. I think of sports as the easy example. Most people choose a sports team based off of inheritance. So you'll
Yeah.
know somebody they cheer for, pick a team. They cheer for the
The
Philadelphia
Bears.
Eagles, the
The
Bears, Chicago Bears. They don't live anywhere close to that city. They haven't lived anywhere close to that city for a really long time. But because their mom or their dad or their family, they grew up in a place that loved that thing, it becomes a natural inheritance that they also love that thing. You see it in other things outside of sports teams. But you see it in hobbies that people like. Why do you like fishing? Well, my parents loved
yeah.
fishing, and we went fishing. Why do you like camping? Well, that's something that we did as a kid. And so when we love other people, we tend to fall in love with the things that they are passionate about and the things that they love. And I think that trying to love our neighbor as ourselves, I think if we're just loving them based off of our own strength, I think that becomes a fool's errand that just isn't
Yeah.
possible. But I
That's an
think that
excellent point.
if we're falling more and more love with Jesus, then we start to love the things that he loves, and we start to see our neighbor the way that he sees them. And you see that with that idea of compassion and empathy, that it's easier to love someone if you have compassion for why they are who they are. And I've seen that in my own life. I've seen that once I knew the story behind something,
Yes.
maybe somebody's being short with me or bad attitude, and it's just irritating me. And then I find out, well, did you know that they've lost a loved one, or did you know that they're going through this really hard season? All of a sudden, it totally changes my view of how they've been acting towards me, because I can be compassionate and say, well, that's why they're short, or that's why they're irritated. And I think that when we fall more in love with Jesus, we recognize that Jesus is always looking at people through that lens of compassion, because he does understand. He does
Yeah.
know the depths of my heart and your heart and the things that we're going through. And that's the kind of love that he wants us to have for our neighbors, a love that is loving them the way that he does. And I think we can't just do that. We have to love him, and that
Mhm.
becomes the overflow of our love